How's it going, everyone? You want to know something that's really cool? Me. How's it going, everyone? And welcome to a special video. Because I'm going to be rating all the RobTop levels. I'm going to be making a tier list of my opinion on how enjoyable I think these levels were, how enjoyable I thought they were playing them through my first time. So I'm going to be tackling this from a few different angles. Like I just said, I'm going to be thinking about how enjoyable were these when I first played through them. I'm also going to be thinking about the replayability. How much do I enjoy them now? How good I think the song is, how well I think it syncs, the music sync is good, and also just how fun and how creative they are. Like, which ones of these levels as you play them builds upon the previous level and introduces something kind of newish that makes it feel unique. I'm not going to be mentioning the coins or how good I think the coins are in each level, just basically the normal path, straight up enjoyability I have while playing these levels. Mixed in with a little bit of gameplay too. Stereo Madness is the level that introduces us to the game. The thing about Stereo Madness is because it's the very first level and just introduces you to the basic mechanics of the game. Is really well made because it's not super hard. It's not so hard that it'll turn you off from playing Geometry Dash. You will push through until you do end up beating this level. And it does just a really good job at introducing the mechanics. And I feel it's pretty well balanced. There is a triple spike at the end, but it's a pretty easy triple spike to do. So yeah, I think it does a really good job. And what do you know? There it is. I think it does a really good job introducing you to the game. The music thing is all right. You know, whatever. Who really cares? There's not that many inputs because it's pretty easy. So there's not much I can say about that. It just does a great job of introducing you to Geometry Dash. Is it great? No, right? Nothing super special, but does a great job at making you crave more of the game as you play it. I think it's a great introductory level, but once again, it's so simple. You know, who's going to go back and be like, I want to play Stereo Madness over and over again, right? It's simple. It does its job. The song is good. It feels like a very starter song. Like, this is the beginner song. I don't know. I think I've just put this at a B. Because at the same time, there's nothing super special about it. There's no parts that you're like, whoa, how thrilling. Aside from 2 triple spikes, like when you first come to the level. Whoa, a triple. There's so many spikes in a row, right? But it's good. It's good. It's just good, you know? Back on track. I think Back on Track is, I think it's better than Stereo Madness. This introduces a whole new mechanic, which are the jump pads that will allow you to jump in the air. But it also has this part right here, where it introduces to you, in a way, fakes. Not fakes as we know them, as in, like, you know, invisible walls, but it introduces you to fakes where not every item in the game that you're going to come across you should hit. Some of them you will hit and you will die. Later on, you know, jump orbs here. There's jump pads that, you know, that you got to miss. And it introduces, like, starting to use your head a little bit. Like, this isn't just dodging the obstacles. It's also dodging the things that otherwise would help you. And it kind of teaches that while having some gameplay that's just a little bit harder. You know, the ship gameplay is a little more dynamic. We're not just kind of flying in the middle. We're going up and down, but it's not super hard. Boom, it once again reinforces the idea that you can smash the top and bottoms in the level. And it's quite a lot more fun than Stereo Madness. Stereo Madness, a good introductory level, but Back on Track is like, okay, this game's actually pretty fun. And I like this level quite a lot. Out of a lot of the beginner levels, I think this is the best beginner level in the game. It's really good, and good music sync, good song, does a good job teaching you. It's pretty fun. Back on Track, going into A tier. It's good. Polargeist is, again, I like this level, but I don't like it as much as Stereo Madness or Back on Track for that matter. It does introduce jump orbs, or jump rings is what they're actually called, but we all call them orbs, and I used to call them jump rings because I was like a purist. Like, gotta call them orbs, but no, they're really called jump rings. But the thing is the jump orb gameplay in this level, even though it's supposed to be basic and it's supposed to teach you, it's just kind of boring, you know? I beat this level also, I don't really like the ship section of just random blocks strewn about. I don't, you know, the ship part in this level, not that interesting for me. And like I was saying, the level's it's so much easier than Stereo Madness and Back on Track. I beat this level on attempt number 1 when I first came to it. Like, sure, it introduces jump orbs, which is good, but it could have been, because it's the 3rd level, it could have been a little more challenging with the jump orbs. You know, just a smidgen. It didn't have to be a whole lot, but this level just, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a throwaway level. It kind of feels like one, though. Introduce jump orbs, but zero challenge behind it. It's so much easier than Back on Track. There's no fake jump orbs either. Whereas in Back on Track, there was like a fake jump pad, some fake jump pads. But this one, I feel like it just doesn't do a good job training you with the orbs to get ready for what's to come, you know? Just a little too simple, a little too easy. I was very unimpressed. There is some good music sync though, the as you're falling down the stairs, which is kind of cool, right? There's some good moments. I don't think Poltergeist is bad, but out of the initial 3 like introductory levels, it's the weakest one for sure. I'm gonna slap it into D. Dry Out. Dry Out is an interesting level because this is the level that introduces the upside down mechanics to us. And I think Dry Out's okay. Like, this gameplay right here at the beginning, the non-upside down portions, doesn't feel like it's much more challenging than what we've seen before. I guess there is the stair climb right here, which is okay. But at the same time, kind of boring until you get here. And then right here, it's pretty interesting. We all of a sudden, we get some upside down gameplay, which is quite challenging when you first play it, and it definitely adds a whole new like dimension to the game. I will say that part always felt like way harder than the rest of the level, because a lot of the other jumps you can wait and then jump, but that one, like as soon as you fall on that little platform, you got to jump immediately and then jump, and it's easy to die there. Oh, you gotta jump. Oh, you gotta jump and then hold it. Dude, I died there like 3 times figuring that out. Dude, that part is weird because it looks lower, and when you see things that are lower, you think that you should, you know, wait and like fall. That's, man, that is a weird part. I do gotta say, I like the nice mix of jump orbs and jump pads in that section. That bottom section we just did right there, the non-reverse, is good. This ship section is cool. This, as soon as you transition into the ship, I didn't like it that much though, because it's once again just randomly like strewn boxes around here. And then the ending is just kind of, you know, okay. Mixes in once again, I guess, a jump pad. Could have used a few more jump orbs there. Dry Out is all right. I think the upside down gameplay could have been a little bit more interesting. It's literally just jumping, falling, jumping, falling. There could have been like 1 jump pad and 1 jump orb just to make it a little more dynamic. It's got that really frustrating moment, which I'm sure as you're learning the game, I forget if I had a hard time with it or not. I'm pretty sure I did, where you got to jump even though it looks like you got to fall down. I don't know. It's a weird little transition part. C or D. I think I'm just going to put that into D. D for Dry Out, you know, but still a little bit better than Poltergeist. No, we're not going to do Dry Out dirty like that. We're going to put it into C. I would say it's a pretty low C, but it's definitely more interesting than Poltergeist. Base after base. I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or anything, but I think base after base is just one of the most boring levels in the whole game. Like, yeah, we had a jump orb into a jump pad, but it's just so easy. It's just kind of boring, you know? Like, there's nothing that stands out here. Like, when I'm playing this, I have 0 fun with it. And you know, this is gonna sound weird, but whenever I'm trying to remember all of the RobTop levels, I mean, I do like it how it visually changes and we see like the level like phasing in and out. Like, that is a nice little touch, but at the same time, this gameplay is just so boring. Like, it's everything we've done. I do like this. I do like dodging that, but it's just a direct rip-off of base after base. And it's because it's 3 jump pads in a row. You could make it just 1 jump pad or something, you know? Base after base. Actually, this ship part isn't bad, though. I will say this. The saving grace is the ship part. But anytime I have to think of all the RobTop levels, and I'm trying to remember all 21 off the top of my head, base after base is the one that I always forget. I'm like, oh, there's one more. What was it? I keep on forgetting. And it's base after base just because it's kind of boring. Like, that upside down gameplay was nothing new too. It was exactly like Dry Out was. There was no extra challenge there. There's nothing new added to this level that makes it interesting. It's just so forgettable. I don't like base after base. This is actually probably the level that I dislike the most. And even though I dislike it the most, it's still Geometry Dash, and I still, you know, enjoy it to an extent, of course. I don't like all the RobTop levels. I don't hate any one of these, but it's my F. I don't like base after base. It just does nothing new. It doesn't build upon the previous levels, and it's boring. Now, this level is interesting because a lot of people don't like this level. Can't Let Go, and they don't like the song. I'm just gonna go and say, I love the music. I mean, actually, it's kind of off, right? But there is some parts where it matches. I love the song. I think the jump orbs are very well placed. Like that, there's finally like some fake jump orbs, and I think that's really interesting. The gameplay is just really fun. This is like what base after base should have been, right? Is Can't Let Go. Can't Let Go is awesome. I really, really enjoy the gameplay here. I like the ending, the challenge where you do the upside down gameplay. This part is kind of boring. I guess the 4 jump orbs in a row is kind of interesting. This middle part, yeah, it's not the best. However, once we get to the ship part is interesting. It's a little more dynamic than we're used to. You're going up and down. There's spikes in the middle of the corridor here. Got to go up. It's fairly chill, but I do enjoy it. And this part right here, man, love this part. Finally, this is like one of the first parts where you're like, oh, this game's pretty challenging, because a lot of the jumps you got to wait. There's some timings, and oh, it's just good. It's just really good. And then a little bit of like a stress test at the end, because that part is so hard. So even though people might say this level's like a little unbalanced because of that, dude, I think it's great. I think the song is great, and most of this level I think is a banger. I think it's a really fun and challenging level that challenges the player and finally gives you a unique challenge when compared to the previous levels. It's really good, and it's the first level since Back on Track that I would say is so much fun. So this is a very hot take, because a lot of people that do these tier lists, they rate Can't Let Go like bottom tier, right? Dude, I think Can't Let Go is A tier. I think it's right up there with Back on Track. It's so sue me, dude. I think it's amazing. But to be fair, I think a lot of these levels I am going to rate pretty high, because I'm not going to have like an even bell curve, because I think there's a lot of really good RobTop levels. Jumper is an interesting one, because I think this is a good level. But at the same time, like it really just tests you on one thing. It tests you on your sight reading ability, how well you know whether you should fall or whether you should jump. And it does that in normal gravity, and it does that in upside down gravity. You know, fall, there's a lot of times, instead of just falling multiple times and like do like you do in a lot of previous levels, it's like fall, jump, fall, jump, fall, jump, fall, jump, 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 fall. Like it's a lot of mix. I would say this ship part is kind of lame. It's just like staying straight. It doesn't really build upon any of the other ship parts, but this level's all about the jumping though. Fall, jump, fall, jump, fall, jump, wait for the spikes, fall, jump. Now I would say, I mean, this level's good. Jump, nice. And finally, like some unique gameplay where you jump into that portal, jump back. A lot of jumping back between reverse gravity and normal gravity. So it's really testing your ability to do that quick instead of like transitioning. I don't like parts like this where it's just like spikes spammed everywhere. So I'm not a fan of the flying and jumper. But anyways, yeah, it tests your ability to switch gravities quickly. Whereas before there were entire sections that were upside down and then you'd switch back to normal. But this tests your ability to switch quickly and to know whether or not you should fall or jump. Like fall, jump, jump, fall, jump, 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 fall, jump. Your ability to like sight read quickly on the fly the upside down segments. So I think it's a really good training level, and I think it's pretty fun. It's nothing super special, but it's good at what it does. Because of the music sync, because I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's as high as Back on Track or Can't Let Go. But we're gonna put Jumper into a B tier, and we're gonna, I guess you can't really order these, can you? Okay, I guess all the tier we're just gonna say are like the same. I'm just gonna put this into B tier. I think Jumper is a good, fun level, helps to get you better at the game, and it feels good to play. Time Machine. You know what? Going into this video, there were some levels that I really did not know how to rate, and this is one of them. I think Time Machine is a very interesting build up from the previous levels. I think it's challenging in all the right ways. However, it is kind of frustrating because the end of the level is really hard, like going into Upside Down, and also the introduction of mirror portals, which is kind of, I don't know, it's very polarizing in the community. A lot of people just don't like mirror portals, myself included. I actually don't mind mirror portals if they're used tastefully, but going right to left, I do like the nice touch though, how this level is called Time Machine, which is like going backwards and, you know, used to go backwards in time, and the mirror portal's introduced as like you're going backwards through time. It's a nice little touch. It does have some good music sync, and actually it does have some fun moments. However, I will say, because of the quick nature of some of these portal transitions, I mean, actually, there's quite a lot of time to react there. When you first get to this level, it feels like there's not much time, but there certainly is a lot of time. But this ending part, when you first get to this, is pretty tough, even though there's definitely like a rhythm to the madness. Wow. I am going to say, though, that this level is one of the first levels that has a lot of personality to it. Because when you think of Time Machine, you can think of so many parts in Time Machine. Like, you can remember this level almost exactly. You're like, okay, the mirror portals at the end, the hard part at the end, the going back and the flying through the sections and missing the jump pads in the section in the middle. Like, it's really memorable. Whereas the levels before were so simple because it's just first getting you into the game, where you can think of some unique parts like the hard part and Can't Let Go. But other than that, the levels didn't have that much personality, a little bit, but this level's the first level that you're like, yeah, Time Machine. Okay, each of these levels now they're getting more and more unique. And I think this level builds upon the previous levels quite well. There are some boring parts, and there's a couple parts that are way harder than the rest. There's some unbalance, but I think it's good. It's a lot better than people give it credit for. So I think with Time Machine, now that I'm thinking about it after playing it, I think I'm going to put it in the C tier, because while it does have a lot of personality, while it is unique, and it is a natural evolution of some of the levels we've met before, and it introduces the mirror portals, it lacks a little bit of fun factor. Like, as you're playing it, you're not like, woo, this is fun to go through here. You do it, and you appreciate its uniqueness, but you're like, nah, right? So, it kind of just goes with Dry Out, in a way. Cycles. Now we're going to be introducing the ball gameplay. Cycles is okay, I guess. I don't know. The first two ball levels, really, I feel, did the ball kind of dirty. Like, sure, we're introducing the ball game mode. And, I mean, it introduces, like, a lot more fakes. It doesn't introduce fakes, but there's a lot more fakes, like, at the beginning, which makes, like, this cube gameplay for, like, 10% was kind of fun, right? And then there's a big wide open area, which, when I first got here, I was like, okay, it's, you know, you did introduce the ball, but it's still, like, really easy. I do like the portals going through there, though. But the ball, this is the first time people have used the ball. I actually like this flying part. I think this flying part is awesome. In, like, some of the, in the original 10 levels or whatever, I think that is one of the best flying parts. Other than as soon as we get to Clutterfunk, there's amazing flying parts, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I guess this ball part is pretty fun. That is really fun. The end of this level's awesome. I actually think Cycles is a pretty good level. It has a couple boring parts, but yeah, and there's also like a fake jump orb there, starting to add that challenge in, right? And I do like going through the portals with the ball. So I actually think Cycles has a lot going on for it. Some parts of it are kind of boring, like when it introduces the ball the first time. I mean, it has to be easy, I guess, to get people used to this new gameplay mode. But that first ball part, when I first played, I was like, geez, give me some credit. That's so open. It's so easy. I thought this was supposed to be harder than the previous level, right? Where Cycles is actually kind of easier than Time Machine. It is. It's way easier. Yeah, but it's still pretty fun. Cycles. I think, do I put it up with Jumper? Yeah, Cycles does go up there. Cycles has a couple boring moments. The end ball is really fun, though. And I think it's a really good introduction to the ball gameplay. Yeah. The first ball part's a little boring, but it gets better as it goes. And the first cube part, for that matter, with all the fakes, really gets you thinking about how to play the game a whole lot more. So I think it's pretty good. Cycles, we're going to put it into B tier. Next one is X-Step. I am not really a big fan of X-Step. I found X Step to be, compared to Cycles, kind of boring, I guess. I found this level way easier too. I found like the end of Cycles had some tough ball gameplay, some tight spaces. This one like opens it up and just feels really easy. That ship gameplay was all right, but that ship gameplay is nowhere near as good as the Cycle ship gameplay with the portals. Is so much more dynamic and fun. And this kind of gameplay where it's just a bunch of spikes strewn about is meh. I do like this gameplay here though. The ship gameplay with the blue orbs, like teaching you that if you do touch those as the ship, you will reverse gravity and it'll mess you up. I do think that that is pretty cool. And this part in X Step actually with the cube, this is probably the star of the show. This part's pretty fun, has some decent music sync, is really fun to play, as well as this part as well. However, then we get to the ball section, and I think this is just one of the worst ball sections. It's wide open. It's so much easier than Cycles. Sure, there were like some orbs to hit, these blue orbs, right, to switch gravity. But, you know, and then another just really forgettable ship section. Whoa, I just got a big lag spike there. Just a really forgettable ship section where it's just spikes strewn about, you know? I do wish X Step was more of a natural evolution of Cycles and had like some harder ball gameplay. So most of it is kind of boring. However, I just realized this now. This is a level that introduces blue jump orbs. I had no idea. They just randomly showed up here and I just, okay, forgot about that. But kind of forgettable, X Step. I don't really enjoy it that much. I think the ship with the blue jump pads is interesting, but that's really about it. And it's got a decent cube section. Other than that, most of the levels just bleh. Oh, baby! Clutterfunk! Now we move on to, honestly, when you get to this point, like Clutterfunk is so much harder than the rest. It has a mirror portal there. It just has everything, you know? It has everything, and the music sync is so good. Boom, boom, and it's really daunting the first time you get to it. It also introduces the mini, which is really interesting as well. Because it makes you think about the game also in an entirely different way because your jumps are a whole lot smaller. And so you need to, you know, it just feels way different. I actually really like the ship section, even though it's spikes that are strewn about, like I said, wasn't really a fan of. It does it like in a less chaotic order, like there's a clear path. And this is a really fun ball section. And because the drop is like insane. The drop with the song, bum bum bum, music sync on point. Ooh, and it's just so intense. This tight corridor teaches you, like, before you didn't have to smash the top or the bottoms, and you don't have to here, but this really like drills it into you. Like, you'd better be smashing those bottoms and tops, and it'll make flying like so much easier. So it teaches you that whole element of the game, and it's a really fun section. This part with the music sync is just unreal. Like, it's so much fun to get this part, but also really stressful. It's like one of the hardest stress tests so far. It's so much fun to play this level. This is one of the best RobTop levels by far, and has so much personality and uniqueness to it. It's an unforgettable experience, and my first time going through Clutterfunk, I'll forever remember. And if I just want to have fun with a RobTop level, sometimes I'll just play this one because Clutterfunk is awesome! Clutterfunk is the first S tier level. It's awesome. It's so good. Clutterfunk is so good. Theory of Everything. I'm going to say this right now. I love this song. The two Theory of Everything songs are some of my favorite tracks in the game. I will say I do like this flying right here. I like this beginning section. Wasn't a big fan of the multiple pathways though. You know, that's kind of the first memorization level in a way. One of the first memorization levels. It introduces the UFO, but I didn't find the UFO gameplay to be that interesting in this level. Like, it doesn't use the UFO that well, I guess. This level has its moments though. Like, I don't think this level's just kind of like middle of the road, you know? There's a part of me that really wants to rate this level higher than it actually is, but looking at my overall enjoyment, I do like the mini ship introduction though. That is interesting. Breakdown. Bum 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 bum. You know, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's okay. Like, Theory of Everything's all right. I don't know what to say. It's okay. I think it could have been a little bit better. I think the UFO parts are just a little boring. I do like this last flying section. All right. Part of me remembers this level with those rose tinted nostalgia glasses as like it's so much better than it was. Like Theory of Everything, incredible experience. But as I play it again, it's just kind of meh. I don't like the UFO patterns that much. I don't like it's not really memorization based because it does show like arrows where to go, but it's just kind of a trick. I don't know. I think it would have been interesting to just have better UFO patterns, but focus on a main path instead of having multiple pathways to go. Theory of Everything's just okay. I'm just going to put it into C. You know what? I didn't think we were going to have much of a bell curve, but so far it's looking like it's kind of even. Electroman Adventures has a banger song. Oh my god, this song is so good. And the gameplay with some of the music sync in here is really, it's a fun level, you know? Boom. I like these big sweeping strokes now with the ship. We're going up and down. We're going all around. Lots of open room with the mini ship, you know? But the ship pattern here, like that's a really fun ship. Boom. Really like that part. I like this ball gameplay. The ball gameplay is, yeah, actually, it's not that easy. It's fun. We got some more mirror portal action going here. And it's really fun to do the mirror parts. I would say this UFO section is finally like a really nice UFO section as compared to like TOE. I do like this challenging ship gameplay where you're going up and down. You're not just kind of like flying straight. We got some Flappy Bird gameplay with the UFO, which I think is, you know, pretty fun. Also, this kind of reinforces the idea of you smashing the bottom and top, which is really fun to do here. And then we get like a mini cube section, which is a little tricky because sometimes you can't just jump right away. You gotta like wait a little bit. It gets you more used to those distances. A fun mini ball section, which is the ending's pretty fun here. Dude, yeah. Electroman Adventures is quite a banger of a level. I don't think it's quite S tier. Like, it's not quite special enough to be up there with Clutterfunk. But this is definitely... Electroman Adventures, it's just good. It's just really good all the way throughout. And it gets a nice spot into A tier. Electroman Adventures, bam. A tier material right there. Club Step! Oh my god! Club Step! This level... I mean, if you're doing all the RobTop levels in order, this level is so hard. However, I do not recommend doing that. But when this game first came out, a lot of people were doing that. And then you get this flying part, and man, is it ever hard. Flying like this, when you first get to this as like one of your first demons, is so difficult. Is it fun? I don't know. To me, that gameplay is kind of fun now. I actually really like this part with the fakes. I think like that's the introduction of like true fakes, other than like coin paths, because there's been fakes in coin paths before. I just think with this level, there's some parts that are like way harder than the rest, right? Like it's a demon level, but like the flying is the main star of the show here, but it's a very unbalanced level. Like the UFO part is easy. The UFO part is fun, by the way. But like, yeah, these flying parts are here, going up through here and then through the portals. That's very difficult to do. Fakes. And then this part right here is so challenging, and it's right at the end. And then going into like the upside down flying, it's insane. So this level, it's all about flying, and me in particular at this point in time, I love flying, and so I do love Club Step. I think it's one of my favorite RobTop demons, but dude, when you first get here, this level destroys you. There's definitely some frustrating moments though. The UFO part where you're doing the straight UFO between the spikes is kind of, I think, unnecessarily frustrating. Like it's good, but it's really easy to mess that part up. I'm gonna put it A or B. I don't know what to do though. I'm really torn. I love this level. You know what? It's a subjective list. I gotta put it A. I think Club Step has really fun and challenging gameplay, and because the ship gameplay still, it's pretty technical, dodging like the certain translucent spikes as you're going through that section. Even to me, who's played the game for a long time, it's still fun to go back and beat Club Step. I think it's a great level. A tier. Electrodynamics! This is a level that I love so much, but I also hate it at the same time. It introduces speed changes. The 2x and the 3x speed. which actually, I think the 2 times speed is actually 1.5 times speed. The 3 times speed is actually 2 times, but you know what I'm saying. Anyways, I think the cube gameplay so far has been pretty fun. I really like the ship section right here. I think it's cool switching to like mini and going through these tight sections. And then I really love the uniqueness. This is the first like UFO section that I think is just super unique, going through those gravity changes. And I think it's really interesting. Middle part is actually kind of boring. Like the gameplay slows down so much. And this ball part is so stupid. It's so easy. So much easier than ball parts we've had before. And so anyways, really boring middle. And then you get to the 3 times part, which the first time you get here is so hard. And you get a portal that changes you gravity in the middle of flying. And then there's this part, which is very tight the first time you get there. I think Electrodynamics has like demon difficulty flying, but it's rated insane. It's definitely like the hardest. It's definitely the hardest insane rated level. I want to put Electrodynamics into S tier because of how much I like the speed changes and the flying section and the UFO section. But the middle is so boring. And that part right there with the blind jump, that's probably the worst jump in the entire series of RobTop levels. It's such a terrible jump that you're going like a faster speed than you're used to. And it's just a blind jump and you can't hold down the button. You can't just hold down the button and jump over. You got to wait a smidgen. And then it's literally the worst jump in any RobTop level. So there are definitely... Electrodynamics is so thrilling, but it also has moments that just piss you off, which is why like I like this level, but I also hate this level, man. That is literally... That is the worst jump in the game. Out of any single RobTop level he's ever made, that is easily... It's just the worst jump. And then the ending is actually, it's a pretty fun stress test. Dude, I want to rate Electrodynamics so high because the parts that are good are so awesome. It's just, there's a boring middle section. The beginning's and there's just some BS moments. The unbalance with the flying. I love the parts that are good, and the parts that are bad just stick out like a sore thumb. So I got to put it in B tier. I want to put it higher because the parts that are good are awesome. Hexagon Force. This is pure bliss to play. Honestly, I love this level so much. Hexagon Force is one of my favorite levels, one of my favorite RobTop levels. And it's so much fun to play. The song is awesome. Introduces the dual game mode and makes it really fun. This ball part is pretty fun with the slopes. Dude, introduces slopes as well. Gets you used to them. Gotta jump on that slope, to get over. Boom, 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 boom. Dude, I love it how it just throws you into duels right away. Like, that's not like a super easy duel to do. It's not like a symmetrical duel. Like, it's asymmetrical and requires like various inputs on like the top and the bottom, which is just awesome. It's like, you're a capable player at this point. You can figure it out. I like that string of jump orbs there with the fakes, the ones with the X's through it. I really like this UFO section. Really good. This ball section, going up and down and like having to focus. Oh, dude, I just got the biggest lag spike. Nice. I also like the colors that are chosen for this level. I like the aesthetic of Hexagon Force a lot. It's like one of the first levels, one of the first RobTop levels that you play and you're like, damn, that looks good. This duel is so much fun. Like, really, I guess when you first get to this, you're like, oh my God, how am I ever going to do this? But like, once you get it, it just flows so well. And you're like, this level's awesome. Dude, this part is so stressful too, because the weight of the duel is different. I also like this with the slopes. Like, you can hit those slopes and still live, but it'll mess you up. It's really cool. It's like, it doesn't kill you, but it'll make it harder. This part is okay. What? This part's okay. It's probably the weakest part of the level, but it's still like okay, still okay. I do like it that it slows down though, because that first, like, it's such a good stress test going at slow speed, going through here, having to fly slow, because flying feels so much different when you do that. Really, really cool flying part at the end. I think this level's an absolute banger, and I think Hexagon Force deserves more love because every single part feels so unique and it's so much fun. A little learny when you first get to it, clearly, because of duels and stuff, but dude, I think it's right up there in S tier. Hexagon Force, amazing level. Blast Processing. This is a level that a lot of people just absolutely love. Like, this is a lot of people's favorite RobTop level of all time. And I gotta say, I am not a big fan of blast processing. I think the song has some cool parts and it introduces the wave, which is good. But the wave parts are just kind of boring, you know? Like, there's nothing particularly interesting about the wave parts here. I mean, it is the introduction of the wave, so you do have to keep it simple. Like, this part is just, it's just flying straight. Like, all this is just basically flying through the gaps. There's no, like, no real sense of danger. This ball part is boring. Like, there's no real challenge. There's no timings. I mean, there's not many timings in RobTop levels, but, like, it just feels kind of boring. And then there's this duel, which is symmetrical, which is kind of float. We're flying through more just empty spaces, right? Like, I just find the pattern that you go through with this level, the obstacles you have to dodge, are just very boring and uninspired. It's like, just go in a straight line as much as you can. You know, this UFO part is okay as well, the pattern. Ship part is a little bit of saving grace. Some slopes with ball parts, okay. This part is actually the most interesting, where you can actually slide on that one thing with the UFO. And then this ship part, again, kind of just boring, right? And then the ending is boring as well. Like, I don't know. I think this level looks good. I like the kind of like flashy blocks. And then this is just empty. Like, what a anticlimactic ending. I just don't like blast processing that much. All the levels up to this point have a lot of personality behind them and a lot of uniqueness. And this level has a good song, which makes it unique. And a lot of people love the blast processing song. But in terms of like gameplay, whenever I think about this, I'm like, oh, it introduced the wave. And what else was special about this level? Like nothing. There's a ship part where you're just going, flying almost straight, kind of up, down, just a little bit. Not super dynamic. You're not like using the whole entire screen, just kind of flying in the middle. And the wave just kind of fly in the middle, just go in the middle. It just feels a bit boring, right? I don't know. Blast processing, when I first got to this, I beat it very, very quickly. And I was like, oh, man, I didn't feel any strong attachment to this level whatsoever. It was just kind of a meh thing for me. This is a very hot take in the community. I'm putting blast processing into, yeah, I'm putting it into D tier. It's just nothing special about it. There's nothing interesting. Theory of Everything 2. This level is kind of a polarizing level. A lot of people really don't like this level. A lot of people call this the weakest level in the RobTop Demons. Some people just absolutely love it. I do say I love the aesthetic of Theory of Everything 2. I like these UFO patterns. It's some of the, like, I don't know, I think it has some of the best UFO patterns in any RobTop level, because it really makes you think outside the box a little bit with how you do, like, smashing the bottom to, like, get a little bit further but not do a really distance jump. You know, like, there's some cool moments. I really enjoy the flying in this level too, because it's not super challenging aside from this part right here. I think it's very fair as compared to Club Step, which is like, the Club Step flying is so difficult. I think this level's a little bit more balanced than Club Step for sure. I also think it's got, you know, some faster wave gameplay, which is fun. And this memorization cube is, or the memorization ball is really fun to learn as well. Flows really well. And yeah, overall, I think it's cool. I really like this section that goes to like the as you're flying up. I think the music sync is awesome. The mystery piano, like, is really awesome. And it makes the level feel really cool. This part's a bunch of smelly BS, though. Wow, I almost died there again. Come on, dude. I always take the coin path. I'm not used to taking the other path. Dude, I love the slow wave. I love the UFO part right there. I think it's really cool. Really, really challenging and fun. Like the ending going through there. A little bit of a stress test. I think this level's really well balanced. It's the most balanced demon level that RobTop has ever made, and I think it's really fun throughout the entire thing. It's got that perfect level of fakes. It's got that perfect challenge. You know, the ship part's a little difficult. The upside down ship part at the end. But other than that, dude, this level, it's Theory of Everything 2 is so much fun to play. This is another banger level, and I'm putting it into S tier. Theory of Everything 2 is good. Gameplay's really fun, unique parts. When I think about Theory of Everything 2, I can remember my first reaction to like a lot of the parts in the level, and I was like, that's so cool. I, you know, love it. It's a great level. Geometrical Dominator, a level that a lot of people hate. I don't understand the hate for this level. You know, it has some annoying moving objects. When the level is good, though, it's pretty fun. The introduction of the robot is good. And it actually has like some cool, even though I said I wasn't going to rate it on the coins, it has some cool coins based on like how you can, how far you can jump as the robot. Utilizes that gameplay pretty well. I will say though, the moving objects did spawn a lot of stuff in 2.2, like some annoying levels. Like this part is like bam, bam, when it just changes like that and you can barely read what you have to do. Like that part is super annoying. A lot of the moving objects are really fair in this level. This robot part is really fun. Nice introduction to like some more challenging robot gameplay. But some of the moving objects are all right. Some of them are just absolute BS. This part is pretty fun, you know, using the whole entire screen. Looks, you know, very colorful too. Really love the colors. Some parts are kind of throwaway like this though. Like that's like eh. And then there's clearly this part. I have to focus everything on this. Wow. I can't believe I'm still alive. I jumped so early there. Oh God, it's just, I still think it would be nice if that part was done a little bit differently. Like it's not that hard once you get it. You practice it, you get it really easily. Come on, don't die again. Jump. Okay, I got it. Nice. I will say, I do think the song is a banger though. It's very, very, very cool. And I do like the switch hitting. I think this is one of the cooler moments in the level. And I think this part as well, like hitting that switch, having the platform to come up, it finally like shows like, oh, moving objects don't always have to be annoying. You can use them for a lot of interesting things, you know? I think the very end of this level is great. I think there's some great moments in this level that are just sandwiched in between like some really annoying and bland parts. I don't hate it like some people do, but I think it's just a solid C. Right around Theory of Everything, Time Machine Drought. Yeah, it's all right. It's inconsistent with fun factor. The end of the level's fun. I like it with the moving platforms, but some of the moving objects are really egregious earlier on. Yeah, and the robot gameplay could have been a little more interesting. Deadlocked is fun. This is the most challenging, in my opinion, the most challenging RobTop level. Some people think Deadlocked is easier than Clubstep, which, you know what? If flying is your weak point, 100% agree. Man, this wave is like, I don't know why, but it's so hard for me to do that. I do gotta say, it's got some interesting moving objects because it's easier to read them. It's like a lot more fair. It's basically what moving objects can be like. It shows you like their possibility. And I do like the challenging robot gameplay, the different pressures. I love this ball section with the teleportation portals. I think that's very, very cool. The introduction of teleportation portals is really fun. I think there's also a lot of fakes that don't have X's through them, so it like makes you guess, and it's, I don't know, it's good. When I say make you guess, I think that's really nice, you know, because there's like a clear logical way to do it. This is the introduction of boss fights. Woo! I will say this part is pretty challenging when you first get there. I do really like this part right here though, that goes with the song, like the boss fight attacks. But these wave parts where you gotta do spam are so annoying. I hate wave spam with an absolute passion, which as you guys will know. This memorization part, I think is fun, but kind of annoying. I like this part. And this part, oh, I almost died. I kind of forgot what I had to do there for a second. That part, I don't like the part with the spikes just going up and down and having to like find your own way through there. It's okay, you know, but yeah, the wave spam parts I didn't like. I think the level would have been better if instead of wave spam, there was just some tighter wave gameplay that was challenging instead of like some 9 circles-y kind of stuff instead of just like spamming through those jagged, annoying corridors. So this level has a few annoying choke points when you're playing it, mostly wave related. The first wave part and then the second wave part, which I died to a few times when I was doing this for my first time. So I don't like Deadlocked as much as Clubstep or Theory of Everything for that matter. However, there are some amazing parts in this level. I do like the memorization flying part. I like the middle part where you're as the cube hitting the blue jump orbs. I think that's really fun. And I like the ball part and the robot part. But with that said, Deadlocked is fun. It's just not one of my more favorite ones. So I'm going to put this, Deadlocked's like a solid B. Like, I think Deadlocked, for me, is the least fun of the RobTop demons. I like Theory of Everything 2 more than Clubstep, which I like more than Deadlocked. Finger Dash being like the only level that got released with 2.1 and having like much more at RobTop's disposal, introducing the spider, introducing dash orbs. It looks better than everything before, and it's quite a lot of fun. I don't know. I also don't think this level is particularly like super interesting though. It's just kind of average, you know? I don't know. It doesn't do much special with the spider gameplay. It's just, okay, go up and down there. Although I will say some of these like spider inputs are a little tighter than you'd expect. And so I do like that there is an equal level of, there's a nice level of challenge in the spider part. Like it doesn't completely hold your hand and give you these wide open gaps. Like when RobTop usually introduces a game mode, like the ball, like you're like, that's so easy. Come on, you know? So I do like that. I do like this aspect, like collecting the coins here and the kind of tighter, the more dynamic wave gameplay. I do like that. Like the ball parts. I think this level's good. I just think it's good. It's nothing amazing, but it's good. Some moving objects that aren't like super annoying, you know? Nice slow ones you can read. It's, I don't know. Good. I think this is like a solid A. You guys with me on that? It's like really good, but there's nothing about it that's whoa, right? There's nothing about it that you'll remember and go, that part in Finger Dash was so awesome. Like these other levels I have an S tier, like Clutter, Funk, Hexagon, Force, and Theory of Everything too. There's so many parts of those levels where I'm like, that's so awesome. Finger Dash is just like solidly good throughout the whole thing and has like nice balanced gameplay. It doesn't hold your hand with the spider. It's not like, oh, new game mode, we better give you tons of space. It's like nice. It's this perfect level of challenge. I think it's just a solid A. So that is my tier list of the Geometry Dash RobTop levels. What do you guys think? This video is way longer than I thought it was gonna be. I thought I was just gonna talk about these levels for like 30 seconds each, and then I ended up just being like, I'll just play them and talk about them, and I talked the whole time. So wow. So I'm trying to look at this list and see if there's any spots that I would switch now that I've done the entire thing, and it looks good. I don't think there's anything that I would switch about this at all. I like my placements a lot. So that's my definitive, very subjective tier list of how I enjoyed the RobTop levels. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about maybe what your tier list would be in the comments down below. Leave a thumbs up. As always, guys, peace.